Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Monday night panel. Just a few things before we start. We've got a live event next week. Oh, I say it's next week, it's come around so quick. 3rd of December. It's with the 2019-2020 squad. We have a lot of players and management already signed up. And two that we can mention tonight is Jerry Yates and Jordan Lydon. And we have done some other reveals over the past week or so you can go back on the socials and look at those. It's £10 a ticket, available from our website. We've just hit the 100 mark on attendees, which is great. So we'd like a few more. So if you are free next Wednesday, please come along. It should be a great night. On the following Sunday, which is the 7th of December, we've got a memorabilia fair, which is from 10 till 1 in the Legends Lounge. Few sellers, the OSC have got tables, so lots of different things on offer. And if you have anything that you want to donate to us to sell, it's all for our charity of the year, which is Prospect. We will very kindly take those off your hands, any books, any programs, anything memorabilia you've got. Or if you would like a table to do your selling yourself, then that's £10 for a table. Everything goes to Prospect on our events. So that'll be the table sales, and everything we make will go to Prospect. Okay, so I'm going to bring to Colin, who has some SAS news. Hi, Vic.
Hiya. You might have noticed in that introduction Harry Morris's picture. It's Harry Morris's. It would have been Harry Morris's birthday tomorrow. The leading goal scorer for Swindon Town in the history. He was voted the greatest player in our history in a poll to mark the 125th anniversary. 229 goals in 279 games. The great Harry Morris. We remember him tonight and, of course, tomorrow on the occasion of his birthday. Now, we are awaiting the draw, of course, for the third round of the Women's FA Cup. We'll be talking to Elise Clayton very shortly about their victory at Oxford City, who I've just remembered, of course, was the first managerial stop of the great Bobby Moore. After he'd retired from football, he was manager of Oxford City for a short while before moving on to Southend. Now, SAS news. Now, Chesterfield this coming Saturday. No spaces available on SAS for that one. The first two coaches for the derby game against Bristol Rovers almost full. If people have secured a match ticket, and this is very important, you must have a match ticket and wish to book with us, please do as soon as possible so we can judge whether we have enough for a third coach. Departs the Nigel Eady County Ground at 9:45, West Swindon at 10 a.m, members £16, non-members £18. Of course, it's a 12:30 kickoff. There are still seats available for Cheltenham on Monday, the 29th of December, and the same there. You must have a match ticket to book with SAS Travel. Departs West Swindon at 4:30 p.m. It's an evening kickoff. The Nigel Eady County Ground at 5 o'clock. Members £15 and non-members £17. And Sean King, the excellent photographer, reminds me that all photographs from the Junior Reds room that he takes there on a Saturday whilst everybody's enjoying themselves in that fabulous space are now available on the club website. So if you want to have a look at that, you just type Junior in and there they are, as if by magic.
They all are. Yeah. And I think we ought to mention, Vic, on the Bristol Rovers and Cheltenham, you have to go both ways. They will not accept anybody that will bring you back. So don't find some way of getting there and then expect the coach to bring you back, because they won't. It's 2 ways or nothing. So, okay, so let's bring the guests on. We'll bring Elise on first. There we go. Hi, Elise. Okay.
Hello. Yeah, you.
All good, thank you, my love. All good. So, all excited for the next round of the cup. Who are you going to get?
So. I don't know. I'm very excited though.
Just to explain, the championship clubs come in now, don't they? And it's the next round where the Premiership teams come in. Is that right?
Yeah. So it's Women's Championship teams this round, and then WSL teams next round.
Yes. So what a target to aim for. Pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
Now we mentioned the O word already. I don't know if we can avoid it very much tonight, but anyway, you were there yesterday. Annie Colston gets a hat trick. Obviously, she does. Tell us about the game.
Yeah, it was It was a really good game. It was very, very enjoyable. I think it felt very different to some of our league games. Obviously, the occasion of it being the FA Cup, there was a really big turnout of fans there, and having the FA Cup trophy there, it felt quite special. And then, as you mentioned, the O word, it was nice to have that bit added to it as well.
The other O word are still in there, though, I think, aren't they?
Unfortunately, yes, but you know, they're a good side. They're the league above us, so we'll just have to see how we both get on. But we're just focusing on ourselves, seeing how far we can take our cup run.
Yeah, I mean, It's been a magnificent season so far. I mean, you've won every single game. I mean, that's a pretty rare occurrence for any football team.
Yeah, I think, you know, the first, I mean, every game you play, you want to win. But yeah, it's become quite noticeable recently that we've got such a big streak. But I don't think we really think about that when we play. It's nice to win, but that's what we turn up to do. We don't turn up to draw games or to lose games. We're just doing what we go there to do. So it's nice. It's definitely a really good start to the season, but it means nothing. However many games we've won already, it means nothing for the games that we've got coming up.
Yeah, as a target, what are the targets to go as far as you can in the FA Cup, presumably, and to win the league? I guess that's your targets for the season.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we're still in the League Cup as well, which is incredible. We've done so well in that. So I think we just want to keep winning games and keep giving ourselves the opportunities to challenge ourselves against other teams. So in the League Cup, we played Cheltenham and Gwalia, who are the league above us, and now we've got Bournemouth coming up as well. So, you know, the more games we win, the more opportunities we give ourselves to play against those kind of teams and challenge ourselves against those opponents.
Exactly.
Well, the draw's just started, and I think it's divided up into two groups, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Middlesbrough against Fylde has just come out. You needn't concern yourself with a trip to the northeast. That's the main thing. But forgive me for sort of half paying attention to what you're saying and half looking at the television. So
that's all right. I'm sure I'll be doing that quite a lot as well.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Okay, shall I bring... Sorry, Vic, shall I bring the others on and then we can do talking as well with everybody?
Yeah, okay, go on then.
Let's bring the others on.
I was just going to say, what's the secret, Elise, between what's Richard Wood done this season to get you off to such a fantastic start?
I think he's just built a really strong environment. That's the main thing. You know, we're a really together group. We all back each other. We've got the support from each other. We've got the support from the staff. Really just focusing on, you know, the next game, kind of learning from the games we've won and learning from the mistakes we've made, but not being too complacent and just seeing every game as its own individual thing. But yeah, I think he's just built a really, really strong environment.
Mark, I know you're going to see the Lionesses, I think, on Saturday against China, aren't you? You know, the success of women's football is quite extraordinary.
It's been transformational, isn't it, over the years, and it's really good to see the professional teams and it being recognised as well. So yeah, it's been great for all the budding children who are growing up and role models for the future. So it's been really good. Looking forward to that immensely Saturday.
Is it a sellout? Do you know? Are the tickets available?
There's still tickets available. I don't know. I haven't seen the latest ticket sales, but it's going to be a good. It's an evening kickoff, so under the floodlights. So it should be a good occasion. Looking forward to it.
So you could have gone to Chesterfield in the afternoon and made your way down to Wembley in the evening. There's no real excuse, is there, Reddy? No,
it's a shame. I'm torn between that because obviously travelling away with the town. But yeah, this is a big draw as well. So looking forward to seeing the Lionesses on Saturday.
Steve, on your goalkeeping courses, are you seeing many girls coming along and learning the art of goalkeeping?
Not as many as I'd like. I've had a few come along over the years. I think I've got 2 at the moment, but I'd always welcome more. And some of them have been pretty good, to be fair to them. So I'd always welcome more.
In terms of the difference between coaching men and coaching girls, etc., is there much of a difference, or is it the same sort of things that they go through?
I had a short spell at Tottenham Women in the WSL, and like anything around them, like really good handling and everything like that was really good. I think the areas they seemed to struggle a little bit was in terms of lack of power. the physical attributes of a man compared to a woman. They just lack that sort of power. So shots sort of in the corners really did cause them a problem. They just haven't got that power and speed that a male has. But in terms of anything in and around them, as I say, their handling was excellent. The goalkeepers I work with were good with their feet. Becky Spencer was one of the goalkeepers I work with, and she's really good with her feet. But yeah, it's probably the lack of physical power that I felt they sort of was different to the men's game.
Elise, when you see shots at goal, what's the best place to aim for? Would you say top corner? Where would you say bottom corner? Whereabout?
Well, I think in the moment, during a game, you don't really have that time to think. It's just away from the keeper, I guess. Low and hard is difficult to save because then they've got to get down. But just all you need is just to hit it with power or hit it with a bit of conviction, and just watch Annie Colston. Then you'll know the answer to that question.
What makes her so good? I mean, it's ridiculous. Her record is. I mentioned Harry Morris, 229 goals in 279 games. She's got well over 100 now. I mean, it's extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah, I wish I knew the secret, but she's just an incredible footballer. She's an incredible person, incredible footballer. Just at training, you can see the difference. But yeah, she's different class.
Well, I'm just seeing Hannah Cox being interviewed on the telly. Kieran Beasley is as well. They're talking to your teammates. Tell us about the atmosphere in there. More than 60,000 tickets over the Lionesses, Mark tells me. So that's pretty good. I mean, tell us about the spirit in the camp. It seems pretty good to me.
Yeah, definitely. It's very high. We're winning games. We're doing all the right things at the moment. But going back to what I said earlier about Rich building the environment, I think, we're very happy and very proud of what we've done, but we're not getting complacent. We're not getting too ahead of ourselves and just turning up to training, working hard, and then seeing what Sunday brings.
Can you explain what this draw is? Because they're now going to Group 2, and I can't see you in it. Do you know how this draw works? Any idea?
No, not really.
Oh yeah, you are. You're in Group 2. You're number 18. Yes. So
Yeah.
That's the ball we're looking for. Number 18.
I think you're a bit ahead of me.
Oh, well.
We're still talking to Kieran at the moment.
Oh, fair enough. Oh, well, it's unlike me to be ahead of anybody, but that's great. Right, the balls are in, and we'll just wait to see what happens. Hopefully, you'll get out quite early. So, let's see. These are always great moments, of course, when you're looking forward to see who you'll play in the next round of the competition. Well, that means you're away. I think if you're out of this one, Sutton United have just come out.
Okay.
And number 15, I think, has just been drawn, Chatham Town. We'll carry on chatting whilst we wait for this, unless Swindon come out, of course. Home draw, presumably, is what you're after, is it, Elise?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Playing at the county ground beats any stadium in the world for me. It's our fortress. We don't like to lose there, so I think teams would be scared to come there, which is good.
What is the difference between playing at the county ground and the rest of the places that you play, then?
I think it's just the pride more than anything. I think when we go to other places, it's the same. We go with the same attitude. We want to win. We don't care where we're playing, who we're playing, but there's just something special about being at home with your own fans watching. And then, we go into the county ground every Tuesday, every Thursday for training. So you just have so much pride, or at least I find that I've got so much pride being there and playing there that you just don't want to lose.
Well, Swindon still haven't come out. Bournemouth are at home. We'll wait to see who they've got in the next one.
No.
Yeah, no, it's not you. You're all right. It was number 17, one out. Fulham they've got.
We've got them in the League Cup.
What, City or Fulham?
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, sorry. Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Portchester or Worthing are at home. You haven't got them either. As usual with Swindon draws, you're sort of hanging on here waiting to see who comes out. 16, that is. Sorry, I nearly thought it was 18. Got excited there for a moment. Oh, it's the O team. Oh, gosh. Here we go. Could it be? No, it's not. You haven't got them in the next round, so you're okay. They're at home to Plymouth Argyle.
They played them the other week.
Who? Plymouth, yes.
Yeah. Oh.
Number 2 has come out. Oh, Charlton Athletic. Of course, they don't always put. And 19. Well, all skirting all the way around your number here.
Yeah.
So 7, whatever 7 is. Let's have a look. That's Leafield Athletic. There are just a couple left after this.
Oh no.
And you're away to Leafield Athletic. That's what it looks like to me. Do you know much about them?
Nothing. I don't even know where that is.
No, I have to say I don't either. So a bit of research needs to be done before that is played. So you're away to Leafield. You didn't want to be away particularly, but it seems to me you don't bother about that.
No, it wasn't that I didn't want to be away. I just love being at home. But I think it's just so exciting being able to play in the FA Cup. I'd play anywhere, to be honest.
Well, very good indeed. And I think these played on the 13th and 14th of December. That's the weekend that you'll play them.
Yeah.
So what have you got in between that and Leafield Athletic?
Well, next Sunday we've got our big game against Moneyfields at home. That's kind of the main one we're looking at the moment. That's next up. If I'm right, I think we've got Portishead away as well. But we're just literally looking next game and then don't try and think too far ahead. So not planned as far as that.
Do you get Christmas off?
Yeah, I think so. I hope so.
Well,
But
well done.
It's near Solihull, Vic.
Sorry, say it again.
It's near Solihull.
Right. Okay.
Leafield is near Solihull.
Oh, is it? Oh, in the Midlands. So you're off to Birmingham, basically. That's basically where you're going. Your assistant manager is being interviewed at the minute, but we'll let you go, Elise, because then you can go and talk to your teammates about it. So well done on Sunday. Well done for the season so far. Away to Leafield. Congratulations, getting through.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
And you. All the best.
Bye-bye.
All the
Elise
best.
Clayton.
Yes, bye.
Thank you.
Elise
Bye.
Clayton from Swindon Town Women then, and they're away to Leafield in the next round of the Adobe Women's FA Cup. Before we get any further, Mitchell, Scotland. I'm going to talk to Steve Hale in a minute about goalkeepers off their lines. You were there at Hampden. Tell us about that effort in the final minutes.
Yeah, obviously this is a Swindon, so I'll try not to keep it too long. Yeah, no, I had the pleasure of going up, watching the game, being a Scotland fan. It was fun. It was a terrible 65 minutes. It was electrifying. It was every emotional in a single football game you can imagine, from thinking you're in to out to red card to the 3 of the best goals I've ever seen. And no, it was there was 2.5 minutes between the 3rd and the 4th minute, and it felt like an hour. It was like just blow the whistle, but to then see, one of your players lob the goalie from his own area, and the Scott McTominay overhead kick, it was the very kick I've ever seen. Obviously, second to Rory Fallon, Bristol City.
Well, I was going to say,
it was a special day, special evening. I remember that.
The ridiculous thing is that his goal was the 3rd best goal of the night, wasn't it?
Second. It was better than Tierney's. It just wasn't as important.
All right, it's an amazing goal anyway. Steve, now what is it with goalkeepers then? What we see this a lot. They go, and we're seeing them getting lobbed more and more. So is this a modern tactic?
Basically, you've got to blame Pep, haven't you, really? Because ever since Pep came into the game and there's such a big emphasis on possession-based teams and everybody wants to do it now, and it just means the goalkeeper in the modern game is having to be more involved in the team in possession, and that means playing higher up. Even back to when obviously I was at Swindon in the 2014-15 season when we got to the playoff final. Wes was obviously asked to play very high, and I can still remember times where he was actually bringing the ball up to the actual centre circle and delivering balls into Rafa Branco from there. So it's sort of, I think it ties in with the modern game of possession, because you're being asked to do more with the ball in possession. And then obviously when the ball does turn over, you do find your goalkeepers in high start positions. I think Andrew asked me about that in commentary in the last game I did, and he obviously referenced the goal at Accrington, I think it was. I think Connor would be disappointed with it. But I also think you have to give credit to Paddy Madden. It was an unbelievable piece of skill to actually to take that shot on first time and have the awareness of where Connor was. I'm sure Connor would have been disappointed with it. But, goalkeepers are being asked to play higher in possession, to be able to sweep in behind the back line even more so. So just the goalkeeper the goalkeeper's game nowadays is a lot more than just standing on his line and making saves. So you can get caught out. I mean, Connor can get caught out, Kasper Schmeichel can get caught out, the best can get caught out from it. But I think a lot of it does come down to how goalkeepers are being asked to play in teams nowadays.
And fair to say with Paddy Madden, he always scores against us, doesn't he? Paddy Madden, it seems to me. He's incredible player. I always remember when he was at Yeovil, he used to bag against us every time. Right, a couple of comments coming in. Thanks very much indeed. This is from Andy. Hi, Andy. Great season for the women. Wouldn't it be great to get both men and women promoted and have good cup runs? Hi, Nick. Enjoyed the match with our 8-year-old daughter yesterday. First women's match. Hope the injury wasn't too bad, at least. There are some pretty brutal tackles going in yesterday. And apparently Leafield play in National League Division 1 Midlands. So that's Leafield away for Swindon Town's women in the next round of the FA Cup. Right, to Saturday then. Swindon Town 2, Grimsby Town 2. Ollie Palmer on 7 minutes. Billy Bowden on 13 minutes. James Ball with an assist on 7. And we all thought 2-0. Great, here we go then. Another 5-0 against Grimsby. But on 22 minutes, Kieran Green pulled one back. And then Danny Rose with a penalty after McEachran had been fouled. On 41 minutes, it was 2-2 at half-time. And that's the way it stayed. Mark, your impression on Saturday?
So I don't want to lower the tone, but I was very bitterly disappointed with the being 2-0 up and then drawing 2-2. Felt like it was sort of 2 points thrown away. We've gone through a bit of a sticky patch lately. In fact, sort of since October, I think we've out of our 8 league games, we've only won 2, drawn 4. It's been a bit of a rough patch we're going through. But they were a good side, Grimsby, and I think I would have taken a point at the outset. I think they were probably one of the best teams that seen the county ground this season. So I think on balance, probably a fair result, but just bitterly disappointed that we were 2-0 up and gave it away.
Yeah, it's one we could have won, one we could have lost. So you take it and you move on, don't you? And I think it's a fair point about Grimsby. They were decent. And Phil, the thing is, we never drew for ages, did we? And then all of a sudden we draw. It's got into that.
I think a little bit of killer instinct has been missing, especially the last 3 games without Drinnan. He does make that difference. But the point I wanted to make about Saturday was, what disappointed me was we had experienced defenders around for the first goal and they didn't do their job. And we've been crying out for experienced defenders and they didn't do it. There was a chance to get it out and they didn't. And that worried me, because we've been, boasting, we're getting some experienced defenders these days, but then we let it go and the ball was in the back of the net.
Steve, you've been in dressing rooms. Ian Holloway was pretty, well, how can I put this? Straightforward in his interview afterwards, wasn't he? He got it rubbish, nonsense, any other name you want to put in there. What was your impression, and what do you think might have been said at halftime that you can actually repeat?
I bet with Ian Holloway, it's probably not a great deal. No, I mean, I think when you go 2-0 up quite early, you put yourself in a great position to go on and win the game. So I think, obviously, when you do concede those 2 goals and they get back into it, it's that disappointment and feeling like you're sort of thrown it away. But 2 is, it sounds silly, but 2 is a tricky scoreline in terms of when you're 2-0 down. You know you want to get that next goal, and all of a sudden the game opens up and the confidence builds. So I think, as everyone said, it's obviously disappointing to in effect get the draw. And it'll be interesting over the course of the season as to whether that turns out to be a good point against Grimsby are a decent side. It turns out to be a good point, or it does turn out to be 2 points dropped. But I always think when you look at a game of football, like sometimes you have to give credit to the opposition as well. And Grimsby did find a way back into that side, whether they're mistakes or not for the goals, but they did find a way back into the side. They ended up playing, more possession. Shots were very similar, 14-15 shots on target, 6 each, but they had more touches in the Swindon box as well. So you do have to give credit to Grimsby at the same time, but it's just, I think everyone feels disappointed when you're 2-0 up and you think, can we go on and win that game, make it 3, make it 4, and obviously you end up drawing. Obviously I don't know what Ian Holloway would have said. He would have been up in the stands in the first half. Maybe he was perhaps calmer in the stands and he would have been on the touchline, but who knows? But yeah, I'm sure he probably would have been quite vociferous in the dressing room at half time. I think it's just a disappointment, isn't it, when you're 2-0 up?
Yeah, there was a lovely quote where he said, if I could have got to my car, I'd have driven home. And I have to say, Mitch, it was one of those games when I kind of felt a bit disengaged. Do you know what I mean? And I couldn't quite understand why I was. I just, part of you sort of thinking about something else, and it was odd, really.
So he was sitting just a little bit behind me. He was spitting feathers, just he was absolutely spitting feathers. Half time he came down, he looked like he was so angry. You could see it.
You couldn't fail to spot him with that mustard hat, could you?
Yeah, he was absolutely human. It's weird you say that because I felt similar. I never want to see that back three again. Okay, those three centre, it gave me Andy Vivash, Alan Reeves, Matty Hayward pace vibes. That you do that ball that went over the top. If Tafazoli didn't win it, we're in trouble. And it's supposed to be experience, but you need Knight LaBelle's pace or being smart on the ball. You need that balance of the defence. And it felt like Ball and Clark kind of cancel each other out. They're both not really defenders. And then Tafazoli didn't know to kind of go across or to stick, and it looked like an absolute mess. And then the issue came with probably one of our other best players, Kilkenny, didn't know if to come or go. And we've got these really good people in the middle of the park who were absolutely getting bypassed pretty much most of the game. Every time it went to Ripley, he was have it. Just got rid of it every time. It didn't matter if you had time or anything. He was just smashing it long. It was like, draw the players out. If you want to hit it long, that's fine. Give them a chance to draw the players out a bit more. It didn't matter if he had 2 seconds or 50 seconds. He was trying to hit Ollie Palmer on every opportunity. And I sat there going, I don't mind long balls. I'm a bit more engaged in long balls than I used to be because I used to hate just pass it around the back for the point of pass on the back. But there needs to be a balance, and it didn't feel like he trusted his defenders to play out with the ball. And then we were bypassing Kilkenny, one of the most instrumental players, and just hitting it long. So it's like, go on, Palmer, head that. And to be fair, he did really well. But what's the point of having Billy Bowden on the pitch if you're just going to smash it long? Billy's get the ball to his feet, make him do the magic. He might as well not be playing.
I once interviewed a gentleman called Wing Commander Charles Reap. Now, he was accredited with introducing long ball, Route 1 football, if you like. And he had masses of statistics which said most goals are scored by 3 passes or fewer. I think it might have changed in the interim time, but he was very much Stan Cullis was a disciple of his, as was Graham Taylor many years ago. So the long ball game can be effective, but you need, Mark, to mix it up a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, I think it was interesting, as you say, the long clearances, looking for the Ollie Palmer up front, bypassing the midfield completely. So yeah, it's about trying a bit of balance, really. So yeah, definitely. I think at this level, I think the long ball does work, but you do need people playing off of that and being able to sort of run.
Yeah. Hi, Anthony. 2-0 up and cruising. Then we pressed the self-destruct button. Feels like 2 points dropped, but at least we didn't lose. We need to play much better in form Chesterfield next week, and I'll go through Chesterfield in a minute. Ollie gave a very colourful version of how he felt after the game. Bleep every other word. Did have some good feedback on Tabor's performance. Hi, Adrian. Is staying behind booing worse than saying he would have driven home at half-time? Shocked he said that, to be honest. And the second goal was Ripley's fault from the start. Needs to be dropped next game. We'll get Steve's view on that in a minute. No pressure there then, Steve. I'll go through the team. Ripley in goal, of course, across the back. Ball, who was replaced by Wright on 74 minutes. McGregor came on for Tavazoli on 65 and Clark. Then in midfield, Knight, LaBelle, Kilkenny, who got a yellow on 40. Oldacre, who was replaced by Tabor, 74 minutes. And then he got a yellow on 79. And Munro. And then up front, Glatzel, Palmer and Bodin. Etchebitumen came on for him on 65 minutes. Interesting that possession was mentioned earlier, Phil, 42.2%, which is one of the lowest for Swindon in a long time.
It's extremely low. And going back to the Palmer point, if we're going to do the long balls, the other players have got to get within distance of Palmer to be able to pick the balls up. Because there are times on Saturday when he was winning good balls, but nobody was around to get on the end of it. And I think you mentioned Tabor. He strikes me as he's the sort of player who could play off him in that way, because he's got an old-fashioned eye that he spots things and seems to go for it. And
well, he seemed to be much improved since he came back from Bath, doesn't he? He
Yeah.
seemed to be. He had a really good cameo. I thought he looked really good.
Well, he had a chance to score.
Yeah.
And but it is, if you're playing the long ball, it's pointless unless you have players around it who are ready to pick it up. Else it would just come straight back. And that's where we get caught out. I think one of our problems on Saturday, again, was our midfield. Although they were being bypassed when they did have some chance in midfield, they weren't winning the tackles. Grimsby were winning tackles against us. I don't know what the stats are on tackling, but I just felt that Grimsby were winning the 50-50s.
Well, I can tell you actually, tackles Swindon made 16, Grimsby 13. Swindon won 68.8% of their tackles. Grimsby 38.5. Didn't seem that way, but
No.
there you go. Statistics, eh? What about this then, Steve? Poor old goalkeepers, eh? From my vast experience as a goalkeeper in walking football, which goes back 6 months, they always get the blame, don't they?
Yes, they do. I mean, probably the guys on the panel probably might be able to give a better opinion than me, because obviously I've only seen, I think, done radio a couple of times, and obviously watched as a spectator on a couple of times. So I'm not seeing Connor play week in, week out. He's an experienced goalkeeper across the leagues. I know obviously when he came into the club last year, he seemed to steady the ship with his performances, but I see sort of social media and I see a lot of criticism that he takes. Whether it's justified at times, not quite sure. Times, yeah. I mean, he's not perfect, as I say. We spoke about the goal at Accrington, and I think he'll be disappointed with it. But I think you also have to remember this is League Two football. Like, all of the players that are playing in League Two will have their plus points and they'll have their negative points. If they didn't, they'd be playing League One or Championship. So I think overall he's done a pretty steady job for Swindon. Is he perfect? No. Is any goalkeeper perfect? No. But I think he's probably in plus points rather than negative points with his performances, I think. I think, again, I've come across him in games, so I've sort of spoke to him at the end of a game before, and I've sort of seen stuff on video clips and that. He seems to have quite an outgoing, bubbly sort of personality, which I think is important for a goalkeeper. And he is experienced. He has got games under his belt. So I think sometimes, like, you can look around the leagues and always think, oh, I want better. But actually have a look around the leagues and go through the goalkeepers and all the other teams, and actually how many of them will actually be better than what you've currently got in goal. So I'm not, it probably sounds like I'm sitting on the fence here, but I think at the level, I think he's a decent goalkeeper. But like I say, he's going to do things wrong, just like every goalkeeper in the league will do things wrong. It's League Two football at the end of the day. Yeah,
if you're a goalkeeper and you make a mistake, it's more noticeable than if a centre forward makes a mistake. It's that simple, isn't it? Definitely. Really. Right. Let's have a look. I have to say I have played out in walking football much more than I played in goal. I would like to say that straight away. Just doesn't go back 6 months, but injury means I'm goal. Anyway,
which were you better at, though, Vic? Which were you better at? Which were you
neither.
Better at, goal or out and pitch?
Neither, Steve, to be fair. Let's go to the referee then. The referee was Ollie Yates. The assistant referee number 1 was Harley Hetherington. The second assistant was Thomas Statten. and the fourth official, Grant Taylor. Now, last time, Mitchell, when you were on the panel, the referee had got a lot of stick, but you kind of defended him and said, well, he got most of the, or was it I think it might have been the female referee, but
No,
anyway.
female, she was fantastic.
Yeah, she was fantastic. So you kind of made a very strong defence. There was a lot of stick for the referee on Saturday. What was your view of it?
Again, I'm probably the most negative person about refs. I thought the ref was fine. I actually, the only big mistake I think they made went in our favour. There was a Stonewall handball. He put his arm out. I can't remember who it was, and he didn't give them a penalty. I don't think the ref had a bad. I get frustrated watching defenders climb our players, and we don't normally get free kicks. But I didn't think the ref had a bad game. I remember thinking he hasn't got really that much wrong, because normally it's the little things that the ref just give, and you're like, it's not foul. But there was a few examples where the lino were getting it wrong, and the ref's obviously going to agree with the lino. So I can't be annoyed with the ref if the linos are getting it wrong. He's got to kind of agree with his colleague. But there wasn't an issue there where I felt he did much wrong. I just want to go briefly back to the Ripley situation. I think he's not solid. He's a stable Football League goalkeeper. Okay, he's great in the air. He's got amazing presence, which is exactly what we needed last year. Someone to come out and grab the ball and take the pressure away from a young, inexperienced defence. He's not great with his feet. That's not really his area. I just think we've been very, very spoiled at Swindon with goalkeepers over the last 15, 20 years, with the likes of Wares and Figueroa and Bender and those kind of goalkeepers. So I think this is the first. We don't normally own goalkeepers. There's no value in owning a goalkeeper when you can get a lone goalkeeper from higher up, because they don't make any value on goalkeepers. So he's just a solid Football League goalkeeper, and we're so used to having great goalkeepers that I think everyone just expects a bit more from them.
Actually, on that point, of course, Grimsby had an emergency loan goalkeeper on Saturday, did they not? And he did all right. I mean, he made one or two. I mean, what about the first goal, Steve? It was a weird one, wasn't it? Because it was a long throw, flicked on by Ball, and then Palmer got a touch on it, and the keeper was scrambling across. But generally, he did all right, didn't he?
Yeah, I know, Rich. To be fair, that's his first game for quite a long time. He signed at Derby in the summer, and he's played a lot of games over his career. He was at Blackpool, I think, last year as like a number 2, number 3. Signed at Derby in, I suppose, in a number 3 role, but he's not actually played a great deal of football. And I've got to be honest, when I saw the goal, both live and then when I saw it back on the video, I do think he might be a little bit disappointed with it, because although Ball's done really well to hold off his man, flick the ball on, Palmer's done well to get across his man, get the header in, I don't feel it's gone into the back of the net with a great deal of pace. And I just felt at the time perhaps Rich could have got across and made that save. But perhaps that does come down to obviously not having actual regular game time. So maybe he was a little bit ring rusty. It's not a blatant error, but I think he might have been a little bit disappointed with it. But overall, in the game, he did all right, Rich. Made 2 or 3 decent saves, one with his foot in the second half. And then obviously the save from Will Wright's pile driver. So overall, I thought he did all right. But yeah, there was a little tinge of maybe he could have kept that out if he'd have been playing week in, week out.
And you had that strange short sleeves but gloves on, which always looks a bit weird to me.
Fashion, that is.
Yeah, Barthez and the Sunderland keeper, whose name has suddenly escaped me. Anyway, Lionel Perez, was that him?
That's right, yeah.
Yes,
that's right.
Yes, he's played Sunderland. Right, we were outnumbered in midfield, so I was disappointed the management didn't adjust tactically. I thought the ref that was booed at the end, says Sean. 100% no issue using Palmer as a target man, but we need lads playing off him, says Darren. Ripley does seem a bit off. Is he still travelling down from up north every home game? Is he training with the team? And Ripley looked very frustrated during the game. Good save near the end. Right, let's have a look at we tell about the possession. Shots, Swindon 14, Grimsby 15 on target. Swindon 6, Grimsby 6, as Steve said earlier. Saves, Swindon 3, Grimsby 4. So that's some of the stats. I mean, how much do you take out of stats, Mark? Because at the end of the day, there's only one that matters, isn't there? And that's who gets more goals than the other one.
Yeah, we've said that before, haven't we?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it when you look at it can be too much, really. Too many statistics, but they've got something for everything. But it is good when you compare sort of the two sides to sort of look back and sort of was it a fair result? Probably Saturday was a fair result looking at the statistics. But as you say, the only one that really counts is the final score and the win.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go through the league table in a minute. I mean, how crucial is it to be in the top 3 now, would you say?
We want to be there. But, I mean, if you look at what Walsall last season, they were something like 12 points clear at one point, weren't they? Or even more than that, I think. And they sort of lost their way. So if you're clear at the top, you're a target for all the teams. So, yeah, we want to be in the mix. Do we want to be top? I mean, as a fan, I'd love to see us at the top. But, you know, it's a long season, long way to go. We've got 29 games left. Yeah, you want to be picking up some more wins for sure. Keep that scoreboard ticking over. But, you know, do you want to be top now? The only time it matters is at the end of the season.
It's the only thing that matters. Ian Holloway, of course, didn't want the "We are Swindon, we're top of the league" chant done. And then within seconds of Swindon getting the first goal, that's exactly what happened. So there we are. On the subject of referees, Chris reminds me, next week we've got Graham Scott on. Now, Graham Scott is a former Premier League referee and also a member of the professional game management of referees, and we'll no doubt talk about VAR and all that sort of thing. So if you ever want to know why referees give decisions, we had Mike Malarkey on a couple of years back, and he came to the County Ground last year to do a nice talk for us and explain in great detail why referees give decisions that they do. So you can ask all those questions next week about referees to Graham Scott. It'll be a fascinating session because we're all better referees than they are, Phil, aren't we?
Definitely. Never make a mistake.
Yeah, there was 8,000 plus crowd there on Saturday. All better referees than the referee that we've got.
No, I do think the overall standard of reffing has been poor this season. There have been too many crucial decisions that they've gotten wrong. I'm worried these days the linesmen seem frightened to assist the referees. They're called assistant referees now, aren't they? Yes. But they don't seem to assist them, that they see things which would help the ref keep control of the game. And they just don't seem to, a lot of them just seem to be content to just run up and down the line and occasionally put up an offside flag, but they don't spot fouls that the ref can't see. That they need to be playing more of a part, I think, to assist the referees.
There seems to be a lot more shirt holding than there used to be.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I'm just spotting that, but there does seem to be a lot.
And also pushing the players.
Yeah.
Blatantly pushing players. Palmer had that, I think, the game before last, where he was shunted. The hands were right. You could see it. We were 100 yards away from it. We could see it. And the ref and the linesman missed it.
It was the same guy from Port Vale last season who was doing it to Harry Smith. It's the same guy. I think he trounced it non-stop, relentlessly, just pushing him. That was frustrating to watch.
Well, we all noticed Harry Smith last year being pulled pillar to post.
Same guy.
Yeah, unbelievable, really.
Centre forwards need to have shirts that rip.
Well,
when the player gets hold of it, it's obvious.
Let me. I used to work with the great Ken Furphy down here when I was doing Radio Devon commentaries, and he always used to say it should have a paper strip on the back of the shirt so that when the bloke pulled it, it got torn off. And there you go. He worked in America, and they came in with the innovation for the mark, didn't they? You know, where you take the free kick from, etc., etc. So I would never argue with Ken Furphy. Let's go through the top of the table then. Walsall at the top, 32 points from 17 games with a goal difference of 8. Then comes Swindon, who dropped to second, 31 points from 17 games, a 6 goal difference. And then Bromley, 30 points from 17 games, 8 goal difference. Into the next 4. In fourth place, MK Dons, 29 points from 17 games, but a goal difference of 14. Then come Notts County, 28 from 17 with a goal difference of 9. Chesterfield, Saturday's opponents, 28 points from 17 games, 4 goal difference. And then Gillingham in 7th place, 27 points from 17 games with 6 goal difference. League table, Steve, where do you stand on them in December?
I think December's a huge part of the season. I think there's 8 games between League and Cup. There's 8 games between now and the end of December, so it's a massive period. And I think like you want to be not necessarily top, but you certainly want to be hanging in on the coattails, sort of around that sort of top 3, top 4 positions realistically. Like Mark alluded to, if you're top of the table, you do become a target. But I think you do want to be in and around it. So coming through that Christmas period is really important because it can sort of almost make or break your season. So it's important to come into January or early part of January, sort of still in around that top 3 or 4 positions. But like I say, the next was it 5 weeks to the end of December. That'll be tough. I think there's a trophy game, the FA Cup game, and all the rest of league games.
Yeah.
And what you tend to get through those, not just the amount of games, but the winter months, the weather, the pitches. And it's this time of year that people generally, not just football, but people generally start to pick up flu bugs, colds, things like that. It's quite a tough grind, League Two football through the winter months, playing Saturday, Tuesday, and then obviously the Christmas period games. And you have to rotate your squad. You have to make changes, and you might want to put your strongest 11 out, but there's times where you just can't because you run the risk of perhaps one of your stronger players being injured through fatigue. So it's a really tough time, the December month. But yeah, in terms of the league table, you do want to be up and around it, definitely in the playoff positions, but ideally the position that Swindon have put themselves in so far, they want to be in around that top 3 coming into early January.
How difficult is it to prepare for all these games? Because as you mentioned, we got the EFL Trophy game next Tuesday against Peterborough. Then we got the FA Cup tie against Bolton. Then we've got all the league games. We all want cut runs as fans. We all want all those. But how difficult is it to prepare from one game to the next?
Very, because, I mean, again, some clubs will not take the Virtue Trophy very seriously and will just definitely make as many changes as they can within the rules of the laws of the game. But, I mean, Ian Holloway has come out and said that they are intending to take that trophy seriously. But then you've got the FA Cup a week later, and obviously the money involved in the FA Cup is, are Swindon going to go and win the FA Cup? Probably not, no. But, if you go through a few rounds in the FA Cup, the money that brings in is a lot. And then you're trying to balance all that off against, important league games. And again, in the, Chesterfield obviously will be a difficult game on Saturday. And then you face a run of games against teams that are obviously in the lower reaches of the table, but they're local derbies, Cheltenham, Bristol Rovers, Cheltenham again at the end of the month. So, yeah, that's why he gets paid the big bucks to manage Ian Holloway. But it's really difficult because you are trying to rest players, you're trying to keep your players fit and well, but you also want to put your strongest side out at the same time. So the depth of your squad is really important. Obviously, Drinnan's had a little bit of a rest with his suspension, so he should come back buzzing. And obviously, they probably have missed him to some degree. But no, it is a really difficult period.
Yeah, we've got hat-trick at MK, of course, in the Virtue Motors. I mean, we love it, Mitchell, don't we? Cut ties. We all want a cut run. We all want to play the big teams in the 4th or 5th round of the FA Cup. We all want to do that. But there is that factor. What is most important is promotion or good cut runs.
What is a cup run? I don't know what a cup run is. So this is never really an issue for us, is it? Bar the Man City, we pretty much go out every time, first round of everything.
Yeah. Well, not this year.
I want a cut run because we just don't get them. We got a big enough squad to compete. We've got a big squad for League Two and a big, good squad. You compare the Virtue team we're putting out compared to the Reading team we put out a year ago. Yeah, that squad is big. You've got to cover every single position. You've got 2 goalkeepers. You've got maybe 1 right back at the moment, but maybe 1 left back. But apart from that, everywhere else through the pitch, you've pretty much got cover to rotate them. So we've got depth in squad to rotate, and I want a cut run, and I want a promotion, and I want to win the Virtue Trophy.
Well, yeah, we'll take all of that. I once said I'd love to win the Champions League, but I'm also a realist. That ain't going to happen. So, we'll take whatever we get this season. But compared to where we were last season, we'd take this any day of the week, wouldn't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good time to be a Swindon fan, even if it's 1 win in 5. We're in a bad run of form, and we're second, 1 point off top, and we haven't lost any of them. So
I know. We're all going, oh, well, we only drew 2-2 against Grimsby, and we're second in the league, blah, 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 blah. But hey, we're second in the league, and we're top last week. Hi, Darren. The biggest issue I saw with the performance on Saturday was the passing quality was sloppy. Credit where credit is due. We've looked sharp, but there's been a bit of inconsistency over the last few weeks. Smith did have his shirt torn last season and still didn't get anything. Fair point. December will be a massive month, says Anthony. 2 cup games, 2 local derbies, and top 4 clash with MK Dons. Bring it on. We're all looking forward to it. Right, Chesterfield on Saturday. Chesterfield last 6. 1 drawn, 1 drawn. So, yeah.
Same.
Yeah. So, Mark, to be honest, they're drawing a lot of games too.
Yeah, well, it's quite close, isn't it? I mean, if you look the table, there's about 12 teams within about 4 points of each other or something. So it's wide open at the moment. There doesn't seem to be any real clear, form guides for any of the teams, apart from probably Bromley, which look like they've won the last 4 games. But everyone else seems to be sort of losing, drawing, or if you're Bristol Rovers, you've lost the last 5. So it's but yeah, it's one of those, Chesterfield, they're 6th, aren't they? 6th in the table, did you say?
6th, yeah.
Yeah, so they're only 4 points behind us. Not even that, 3 points behind us.
3 points, yeah.
So yeah, a big game Saturday.
Yeah, it is a big game. Are we talking too early for big games, Phil, or are they big games, would you say? Important games, I think it's fair to say. They're all important, aren't they?
But down the table, and I go down as far as 15th as teams which I would consider are potential playoff at least teams. So every game is important because it is a compact league at the moment. And yes, Bromley are winning 1-4 at the moment on the trot, but I suspect that may peter out soon, and they will have a dip. And we just need to be consistent. And Saturday, it is a tough one. Darren O'Daker may want to remind Oldham who he is. Chesterfield who he is. That get a sweet, lovely goal, which would be a lovely one if it's the winning one. But it again will be dependent on our attitude, I think, in the first 15 minutes. That in many games, we've been slow starters, and Holloway wants us to be pressing, but we often don't press as hard in the first 15 minutes. The last 15 minutes on Saturday, we really had Grimsby going because we were going flat out. And against Chesterfield, we've got to be prepared to disrupt them and get them on the back foot so that we take charge rather than Chesterfield.
Steve, Mr. Holloway said this week's work will consist of a word beginning with R, ending in N, with you in the middle. I mean, how important is running at this stage of the season? Because he didn't see enough of it, so he wanted them to work really hard on the running this week. How important is it, sort of coming up to nearly halfway? Still a little way to go yet, but you take the point I'm making.
Yeah, no, it's a big part of the game. Football nowadays, you've got to be athletes there. I know Scott Lindsay, when I worked with him with Crawley and MK, was big on it, and there was a little pattern where obviously they have the GPS data. I think it was if the team ran a certain distance, the whole of the team ran a certain distance in a game, we tended to win or draw. But if we dropped below that, we tended to lose games. So he set big stall in the distances the players ran. There's high speed running as well. All the GPS data will give you, but it is important. And I think it's, going back to a Roy Keane quote, it's like a minimum requirement, isn't it? Like just running hard every game. And I think a lot of people nowadays talk about tactics until they're blue in the face. And I'm not saying tactics aren't important, but I still think a lot of it comes down to if you can outwork the opposition. I think we overthink things a little bit tactically nowadays, but is how hard you run, how far you run, how fast you run. If you outwork the opposition, you give yourselves a very good chance to win games of football. So I can understand what Ian Holloway said, and I think sometimes when you have a bad spell in form, like those running stats can actually start to drop, and you can see a difference in it. So you've got to get after people, and obviously he's a motivational type of guy. He won't be a quiet got on the touchline, he'll be getting after his players, and I think that's quite important again through the winter months. So yeah, it's a big part of the game, and so you've got to be an athlete now as a footballer.
And what about MK? I mean, we went there recently in a virtue mode, and there were 1,000 people in that magnificent stadium, and quite frankly, we could have a whole section to ourselves, Phil, couldn't we? It was just bonkers. But what about them? Are they underachieving or overachieving? Where would you put them, Steve?
They seem to have a funny run of form, as in they didn't start the season great. Then all of a sudden they went on a winning streak and got up into the top sort of 2 or 3 positions. Then they've had a couple of iffy results. Obviously, they were 2-0 down at Tranmere away and then came back to get a 2-2 draw. So it was a good result in the end, although they were missing 2 or 3 key players on Saturday's game. So to come out of it with a draw against Tranmere wasn't too bad in the end. Again, obviously I only worked with Paul Warne very, very briefly, but he is of the motivational ilk, and he's another one who's massive on running. He even runs back from the training ground to the stadium after training, so he's huge on fitness levels. And yeah, running to him is massive. But they've got, they have made some good signings over the summer. The likes of Mendes Lang, particularly, and Aaron Collins when he's fit, both good attacking options. I think they'll be there or thereabouts. And with the owner, come January, he's got the financial clout to strengthen again. Which, again, that could be quite interesting in January, what sort of signings they make then. So I do think they'll be there and thereabouts. I'm not sure they'll win the league, but they'll certainly be there or thereabouts.
Nathan Thompson, of course, there. Joe Tomlinson there. So confused Swindon connections. Chesterfield drew 3-3 at Crewe on Saturday. James Berry, Lee Bonis and Dylan Markandi, I think that's what it's called. My writing's not very good, Mitchell, so I can barely read it. But you mentioned they got a similar record to Swindon. What are you expecting?
Ronan Darcy to score. That's the first thing I expected. Obviously, Steve's old players. That's what I expect, Ronan Darcy goal. So that's the first guaranteed thing. It's going to be an interesting game. Like I said, last 5 games, both drawn for 1-1. You just don't know with Swindon. Like, you just depends what team he puts out. If he puts out what we see as I think most people would probably put the same 9 out of the 11. It's the other 2 that they kind of play. What I don't like is, and again, it was a bit of one. He can't keep doing the 2 centre midfielders. And then Glatzel, you kind of can be in midfield, but you can kind of be up front, or you can be out wide. You've got somebody like Ollie Clark, okay? Put him in midfield. He makes such a difference. He makes when we go, we decide we're gonna need to go for this. Actually, Ollie Clark, go in midfield and do the job that you're actually good at, and drive the team and win the tackles and win the headers and drive the team forward. Well, suddenly we look good. Jake Tabor was running off it. If you put the team that's there to win, and that team that was there that got us to second or top of the league that we keep shuffling with. I appreciate there's injuries and suspensions, but it just feels like there's a lot of got to keep this guy happy, got to keep this guy happy. How do I get everyone I like into an 11? And it compromises the team as opposed to the 11. I want to see a 3-man midfield of midfielders. I don't want to see Glatzel being, what he does at the moment is he does, because everyone kicked off about the 4-2-3, the 5-2-3. He's now gone 5-2-2-1, where you got arguably 2 10s in, say, Drinan and Glatzel, who kind of play wide, then one drops in and one comes in. Still leaves us completely exposed in midfield. And then you've got small players like Nichols, who's very industrial, to be fair, or Kilkenny. They're still not hard hitters. And Oldacre's not a hard hitter. Billy Bowden's not a hard. You need your Ollie Clarks in there to just get the ball back, win the ball. But he's not just he'll kick him. He drives the ball forward. He gets the team and he keeps the composure. When he goes at the back, he looks a little bit less of a leader. He looks more uncomfortable. If you watch some of Ryan Tafazoli's videos, he's telling Ollie Clark, he looks like the captain, and he's telling Ollie Clark what to do. But when the minute Ollie Clark goes into midfield, he controls the game. He controls the game and he talks to the team. You can see if you have him in the midfield and Tafazoli at the back, Will Wright to the right of him, Knight LaBelle's recovery speed to the side of that. Suddenly the team's got a lot more balance, and it's not just trying to fit every person you like into the team.
Yeah,
that's a chance.
We had Mabete and Wright on the bench, of course, on Saturday as well, which many people might have raised an eyebrow at, rather than, Glad you mentioned Glatzel and running. My goodness me, that bloke runs. I mean, I don't know how many kilometres he covers in a game, but he does a lot. I think it's fair to say.
16 at Rotherham, wasn't it?
Yeah, amazing. I mean, he never stops. Bakari took us through the leagues of the FitBase team on running. That was Paul Mungford. Hi, Paul. We also got 3 points in the last 2 games. We got 2. Draws may prove costly. 3 draws are a win. Always remember that. I think it's fair to say. Roland Darcy. I never recognised him with his haircut. I mean, I say, Steve, that Crawley team that took apart MK Dons, that was arguably one of the best 2-legged performances I've ever seen. They were magnificent, weren't they?
Yeah, it was unreal to be part of, to be fair. But yeah, Darcy's he's full of energy. He's just full of energy. That's probably one of his biggest strengths. He can be quite a quiet character, but like I say, on the pitch, like, unbelievable energy drives you on. He's got the ability to break forwards, get in the box late and score goals. He's the type of player that needs a manager to believe in him and make him feel good and make him feel wanted. When he's not in the side, I'm not going to say he's a bad professional, because that would be unfair, but he is one that probably sulks a little bit when he's not in the side. But when he's in the side and he's playing regularly, like, he's just high energy and he gives you that drive from midfield. And like I say, he can burst into the box and score goals, as you've seen. He did it for us, and I think he scored a couple of goals for Chesterfield where he's got in the box and scored. But yeah, I like Darcy. He's a good lad, and he might pop up and get a goal. He's likely to do something like that.
Well, let's hope he doesn't on Saturday. Maybe the cutting of the hair maybe had something to do with the fact he won't score on Saturday. I don't know. I mean, I don't recognise him. It's that simple without it. Right, Mark, a prediction, please. It's that time when you have to give a prediction. I don't, because I'm the chair, so I don't have to do it. But what do you reckon?
On the form, I think it's going to be another draw. I really want to see us win, but I just, yeah. I think with Drinan being back,
yes,
and Snowden, he's been out, isn't he, as well? So, yeah, we're going to go for a win.
It's a fair point, because Nichols wasn't playing on Saturday. We forget this. Snowden wasn't playing. Drinan wasn't playing. You know, a lot of these are first-team choices, aren't they? So they're not in the team at the minute. So it's a fair point. Phil?
3-1 for Swindon.
Whoa, okay. Very good.
I think the Drinan factor will make a big difference. The way he played at MK, he was obviously trying to prove a point. And I think coming back on Saturday, he would give 120%. And I think he'll cause them trouble.
He's another one who runs, Steve. He is a big factor, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with Phil. I think he will come, because he's had a little bit of a break. I think he'll come back full of high energy. He'll be desperate to get on the score sheet. I do think Swindon will win at Chesterfield on Saturday. It's not an easy place to go. And under Paul Cook, he's certainly, again, a motivator and a real character. But they're also, you can get at Chesterfield. And I do think that Swindon there'll be a reaction. I think Holloway will obviously get after him in training this week, because he obviously was disappointed in the result on Saturday. And I actually think they'll go there and do well. And I do think they'll come away with the 3 points.
Excellent. Mitch?
I think we will win 4-2.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll take that.
I just think it's going to be we're going to have to try and outscore them. I can't see us keeping a clean sheet. It actually suits us now. We've broke that barrier. So yeah, 4-2.
Brilliant. Okay, very good indeed. Just a reminder that the women have been drawn against Leafield away in the third round of the Women's FA Cup. That draw was made earlier today. Thank you very much indeed to the panel, to Mark, to Phil, to Steve. Good to have you back again. Nice to see you on the panel again. And Mitch, as always. And I'm glad to see you've got a voice back after last week at Hampden Park. So an amazing recovery, if I might say so. Well done to you. Chris.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much for joining us. It's been a lot of talk going on, so it's all very good. So lots of questions coming in as well. So brilliant. As Vic said, next Monday we have Graham Scott, the referee, on with us. He is a Swindon supporter, and he actually lives in Oxford, I think.
We've mentioned that too many times tonight, Chris.
I know. We won't hold it against him. So he's on. So that'll be very interesting. So we'll see you next week. So thanks again to the panel, to Mark, Phil, Steve, and Mitch. And we will see you next week. Thanks, Vic. See you soon.